Trigger warnings. Mentions of sexual assault and violence, emotional abuse and manipulation, controlling behavior, and emotional incest. Am I the a-hole for leaving a family dinner early because my mother-in-law told people I was raped? I've never used Reddit before. My situation happened a couple days ago, and I saw a TikTok on people reading from it and saw the comments and how they give advice, so I thought I'd try it out. I'm 26 female and my hubby is 27 male. We've been together since we were 16, 17. Early on, I loved his mother. She was the sweetest woman ever. She welcomed me in with open arms and always made good company. Of course, like everyone, she had her moments, like getting a little too mad at cashier not understanding her needs, or making a joke that made people a little uncomfortable. But everyone always brushed it off because she's just an amazing person. At the age of 23, 24, me and my husband got engaged, and I don't know how to explain it, but it's like his mother's persona just flipped, like there was a switch on the back of her head. When we told her we were engaged, she got pale and looked like we had told her someone had died. Hubby got weirded out like this and called her out on it. She just said she had to go, and we didn't hear from her for about 3 weeks. We had lunch together often, as family means a lot to me and my husband, so when we got stood up for our lunch date, we worried. Maybe my husband came off a little harsh, so we went to check on her. Hubby's dad let us in, but had to talk to us first. He began to tell us that she was shaken up by the proposal, saying it wasn't how things were meant to be. Hearing this, my husband got mad at his mother, implying that she had always thought of their relationship as temporary. He went to their room with me and his father following behind. We had found her coddled up with baby pictures of him crying. This was really disturbing for me, and I excused myself. I was extremely confused and hurt that my soon-to-be mother-in-law thought of our relationship like that. My father-in-law consoled me and said, for whatever it's worth, I believe there is a little string bonding you and my son together. Don't listen to her. This stuck with me and made me cry. I still remember it to this day. My mother-in-law proceeded to text me that I had taken away her baby boy, that no one could replace the love they share. Yes, I know a mother's love isn't replaceable, but, in my opinion, a mother and wife should not be in the same category to compete with each other. The love they show is completely different, and the love that's given to them is completely different too. She goes on to tell me that it was just meant to be him and her against the world. She has 3 other children. I didn't respond because it just weirds me out to think if she always felt this way. Back when I was a little girl, a parent of a child I was friends with raped and tortured me. I used torture lightly. He burnt my legs and privates and dug into my skin with the heated up head of the lighter. My hubby knew this very early on, and often had to take a few hits because I had panic attacks, especially when we became intimate. He went out of his way to make sure I was loved and appreciated. He kissed all the parts of my body, including my scars. He was extremely protective, in a way where he only worried when something happened for him to be. He took hits from men for me and shouted at whoever he needed to. To say I am in love with this man is an understatement. My mother-in-law knew what happened to me and cried when we told her. Fast forward a bit, some space and talks later, his mother tolerated me. The sting that comes with this relationship change is indescribable. We were attending a family dinner where we planned on announcing a pregnancy. We had cooked words into the food saying who each person was going to be. For example, "You're my auntie." Most caught on, my little niece caught on first, and then my mother-in-law. She became silent, which we thought was for the better, honestly. After we ate and were just talking, she chimed in asking, "Is it really my son's baby?" Before I could say excuse, my husband yelled it instead. My mother-in-law says that due to me letting another man touch me, how is she sure I wasn't weak enough to let it happen again? While my husband was arguing with her, I just got up and left. My husband ran after me, cussing his mother out. My father-in-law left too. People soon started saying they had to go Oswell as it was getting late. It was 6:30. I later got a message from my mother-in-law getting mad at me for leaving and embarrassing her. I don't think I was wrong for what I did, but I am starting to think maybe I should have just stayed and left more appropriately. Am I the asshole? Edit. Because I can't keep up with all the lovely comments. Me and our baby are no contact, and she won't see her grandchild. But my husband is keeping her number muted because we think having some way of communicating so better. I would never leave my husband if he does try to communicate. He's been with me through a world of hurt. This is a world of hurt for him. I never leave him. Just know that if you get an upvote on a comment, it was probably me. I can't thank you all enough. I don't really know where to post an update if there's one, but I'm sure I'll figure it out maybe. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. If your husband doesn't cut his mother off completely and permanently, you need to cut him off completely and permanently. OOP, I wouldn't go that far. He has been with me through thick and thin. I wouldn't leave him if he chose not to cut her off. We have talked about how contact would be low, but I would never want them to not have a relationship. I'd like to give her a chance because, as I stated, family is so important to us. But he has said he would do whatever he needs to do to make me feel safe. A commenter 2. You're not the a-hole she is. I'm sorry she has treated you so disrespectfully. I'm glad your husband and father-in-law have supported you. A mother's love is one thing, but she should not be comparing it to the love between a man and a woman. She should not be trying to shame you, especially in public, for SA. I would steer clear of her. OOP. I have avoided her as much as possible. I haven't blocked her number, as I didn't want to give her some sort of leverage for treating me like this. I've just muted and messages, so I don't even know if she does. Commenter 3. I'm sorry, and honestly, she shouldn't be near your child, and you need to limit your interactions with her. Talk to your husband about it. OOP. We have. It was the first thing I said when we got in the car that I'm not letting a ride nutcase around my baby, and he immediately agreed. Commenter 4. Sounds like she needs a serious mental health intervention. Why hasn't your husband's family done anything about that yet? NTA, obviously. OOP. It's still fairly new, and I think it's more just people are shocked. I've gotten messages apologizing for her behavior, though. OOP. To defend my father-in-law because he's amazing, she was getting better, and paying for those kind of things gets really expensive, and he saw change in her behavior, hence why we were comfortable going to a dinner with them. He did mention about getting her fixed, so I hope she is helped soon. OOP. She's more calm with them. They definitely know my husband is the favorite, and I know it must have hurt them a lot. My husband did apologize early in our teen years for never seeing it. Her other children don't like her that much, so yeah, it's more neutral and calm. Update, January 15th, 2025, 5 days later. Hi. First, I want to thank everyone so much for all the amazing and sweet comments. Quick edit, this update was written over the course of a couple days. So, for example, I said my husband kept her number, but then I said she was blocked. I'm so sorry for any confusion that this causes. If you've kept up with my edits or replies on my original post, you'll know that I was low contact with my mother-in-law. I've now gone full no contact. My hubby keeps her number muted, just in case something happens. My baby will never meet her grandma unless a professional tells me that she won't act like that anymore. I know some of you think I should divorce my husband if he doesn't go full no contact. Respectfully, that's some advice I won't listen to. He has been through so much with me, and to leave because he has to make a hard decision isn't what I agree with. We both think that keeping some way of communicating is what's best. Doesn't mean we're going to talk to her at all. Please don't comment, that's stupid, or you're going to get a world of hurt. It's purely for emergency purposes. His parents are getting old. We've had to come to terms with needing to keep her number in case something happens. To clear this up too, my father-in-law never took her somewhere at the beginning because she had gotten better, hence why we went to a dinner with her in the first place. Now he is looking into people to help mother-in-law. And I completely understand why he wouldn't just drop and divorce her. This is real life, and he made a promise to her to never leave when things got rocky. He may be blind and overly hopeful, but he is a man of his word. Also, all the comments saying what you would have done to my mother-in-law made me and my husband laugh a lot, so thank you so much. Please know I saw all the comments, and I love them all. Now for the real update. So I had fully blocked my mother-in-law number, and she didn't appreciate this at all. It started off with messages to my husband about it, then letters, home visits, and then a rock through our window. We have no evidence that it was her, but we have our suspicions. My father-in-law hired a professional to talk to my mother-in-law, and she didn't agree at first, then was willing when the therapist said she wouldn't see her son or his baby ever. When she said this, my father-in-law proceeded to yell that she has no place in suggesting his wife might see her son and child again without consulting us. He especially got mad that I wasn't included in this thread of no contact. He fired her on the spot. We were on call with my father-in-law to heat how things went. We've found someone else that understands our position and wants to help give answers to my mother-in-law's family. Her first session went okay. She isn't keen on the therapist idea, but I think she just remembers what was said to her a couple days ago. She's been calling my husband and leaving voicemails crying, saying I'm a witch for taking him away from her, and that this isn't how it was supposed to go. We send every voicemail to her therapist, and she's given us some possible reasonings like bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, or schizophrenia. We've continued to get letters in the mail. They differ from crying like paragraphs to the way she plans on getting her son back. A lot were very violent to me and my baby. My hubby isn't standing for this anymore, so we're going to be moving soon, and my husband has fully blocked her. This has been really hard on my husband because he's having to grieve someone who's gone, yet still alive. I'll update more if anything happens and how the move goes. Relevant comments. OOP and her husband should consider about security cameras for the house and document everything. OOP. I'll bring this up with my husband as soon as he gets home. Thank you. Is OOP's husband the youngest of his siblings? OOP. One other boy and 2 other girls. He is the youngest. Commenter 1. She still may need a medical exam with neurological focus workup. I say this not as her provider, but as a medical professional, so this is just a general suggestion anyone can make. OOP. Fair. I think we were thinking more on a mental point, but we will definitely take her to a doctor. Thank you. Commenter 2. Why didn't a lot of you get her assessed years ago? When your first post time jumped, I was floored. It's like you opened the door to find the room on fire and decided to contain it with misting spray bottles and some rubber mats for years, then got surprised each and every time it flared up into the hall. The woman has been on fire this entire time. You don't keep calm and carry on with rapid and destructive behavioral changes. OOP. That's just incorrect. I've stated multiple times. When we found her crying with my husband's baby photos, we were planning on her getting help, but she got better on her own. Hence why we were comfortable going to a dinner with her. We thought, and she did too, that this random outburst was just her realizing that her son was grown. We didn't get help because she got better. Now it's happening again, and we are because it clearly wasn't what we thought. Commenter 3. Wait, did her first therapist say it was you guys at fault? I'm glad she is getting the help, and she has her husband to support her through it. It also makes it a buffer, so she hopefully won't go to a more violent behavior pattern. But if you guys are in contact with him, just make sure she isn't. I've seen a lot of great advice in the comments. I just want to say how strong you and your husband are, and I wish you all the goodwill and love in your lives going forward. Even through it's shit and hard, it should be worth it in the end. Edit. I haven't seen this said, but in Australia and you are married, you are entitled to use either last name. Maybe request that your chosen name be used isn't of your legal in some or all aspects, so you are kept safe. I kept my last name when married as I didn't wish to go through all the hoops to change everything. But I can still set up things with my husband's last name if I so wish, and go to a courthouse to change it if I was in true danger. OOP. Her previous therapist basically gave her a promised ultimatum, saying that if she goes to therapy, she will see her son and grandchild. Not only is this super unprofessional, it's also 10 times worse when she doesn't consult us about this. What she had said, we would never go through with. So, we just have an even angrier person. And no, sadly, we live in Canada. I was born in Australia, and I miss it so much. Not hating on Canada, just love Australia too much. Commenter 4. I must be mistaken. I thought you said your father-in-law was there, and then reported what happened to you and your husband over the phone. You actually heard her say she wouldn't be able to see her son or grandchild. If so, that's very much out of line for a counselor to say. Perhaps I just interpreted what you said as her trying to persuade her to get help as of if you don't do this, this could be the consequences. I do believe I'm not calling you a liar. A therapist would say something that out of line right from the get-go. OOP. Yep, me and my husband listen over the phone during her house visits. So yes, we did hear her, and our father-in-law say she's out of line. It could come across as persuasion, but just like how a doctor can't promise that you'll be okay, any type of mental health care worker can't promise, give an ultimatum for something like that. It makes my mother-in-law believe that just attending therapy means she will get back her baby boy, and when we clearly won't do that, we will just have an angry mother-in-law again. And we're trying to get her to not want to hurt me, so me not being included in this ultimatum was also very unprofessional in the sense that we're trying to get her help because she seems to hate my guts, but her CS worker is actively only including the people she doesn't have a problem with. I have no idea if that makes sense.